The jet stream is buckling across North America, and what happens next will define the first 3 weeks of January for millions. Cold air masses are lining up like dominoes from Alaska through Canada, ready to spill south in waves. We're watching a sequence that meteorologists recognize as a classic pattern shifter, one that transforms weather from coast to coast and settles in for the long haul. Right now, as evening falls on Monday, December 29th, 2025, a formidable storm system churns over Quebec at 978 millibars. To appreciate that number, understand this. Atmospheric pressure measures the weight of air above us. Lower numbers mean stronger systems. This storm ranks as a powerhouse, driving heavy snow across Quebec and Ontario while fueling relentless lake effect bands across every Great Lake. The isobars, those pressure lines on weather maps, are squeezed together like accordion folds. That spacing tells us winds are screaming, and they're pushing Arctic air south over existing snowpack. The combination breeds blizzard conditions. Travel across southeastern Canada and the Great Lakes region right now isn't just difficult, it's legitimately dangerous. Unless your trip is absolutely necessary, postpone it. Along coastal New England from Boston through down east Maine, rain is falling, but inland, particularly around northern Maine's Caribou region, we're dealing with freezing rain. This isn't ordinary precipitation. Freezing rain creates transparent ice on everything it touches. Roads become invisible hazards. Power lines collect weight they weren't designed to carry. This threat continues through tonight. Watch what unfolds as we move toward Tuesday morning, December 30th. The storm's cold sector sweeps in behind the system. Maine's rain transitions to snow. Lake effect snow production continues at full throttle. By Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning, those lake effect bands remain locked in position as northwest winds maintain their relentless push of frigid air across relatively warmer lake waters. Let me walk you through the mechanics of lake effect snow, because grasping this process helps you understand why certain neighborhoods get buried while others stay clear. Picture extremely cold air, the kind that spent weeks over frozen tundra, suddenly racing across open water. The lake warms that air from below. Warm air is less dense than cold air, so it rises rapidly. As it climbs, it cools, and moisture condenses into snow clouds. These clouds don't spread out evenly. They organize into tight bands, atmospheric conveyor belts that dump enormous snow amounts on very specific downwind locations. That's why Erie, Pennsylvania can measure snow in feet, while someone 40 miles away barely sees flurries. This lake effect pattern persists straight through New Year's Eve. The atmospheric setup favors continuous production. By 7 a.m. New Year's Day morning, Thursday, January 1st, 2026, let's look at the snow tallies. Quebec faces roughly a foot of additional accumulation. But the Great Lakes region experiences the most significant impacts. Focus on these specific projections. Erie, Pennsylvania extending toward Buffalo, New York could accumulate up to 2 feet of new snow. The Watertown, New York corridor looks at 12 to 18 inches. Traverse City, Michigan, 6 to 12 inches. Marquette, Michigan, 6 to 12 inches. These communities know winter intimately. They're equipped for heavy snow. Yet, even by their standards, this qualifies as a substantial event. Northern Maine's ice situation demands your full attention. Forecasts call for accumulations ranging from a light glaze up to 1/10 of an inch. That might sound minimal, but ice physics tells a different story. At 1/10 of an inch thickness, tree branches begin snapping under the weight. Power lines become vulnerable to failure. Road surfaces transform into skating rinks where traction simply doesn't exist. If you're in the Caribou area or anywhere across northern Maine, treat this ice forecast with the seriousness it deserves. Wind adds another dangerous dimension to this storm. Currently, Monday evening, gusts over the eastern Great Lakes are topping 60 miles per hour. Across the central Appalachians, from West Virginia through western Maryland into southwestern Pennsylvania, exposed ridges and peaks could experience gusts reaching 70 to 80 miles per hour. At those velocities, wind stops being merely uncomfortable and becomes genuinely hazardous. It topples trees. It damages buildings. It lifts fallen or falling snow and creates instant whiteout conditions. Tuesday morning maintains the intense wind pattern. Here's the critical factor. We have deep snowpack already in place, and temperatures are cold enough that this snow remains dry, light, and powdery. Strong winds pick up that feather-light snow and move it horizontally. Even if precipitation has stopped, blowing snow obliterates visibility. You lose sight of the road. You can't spot other vehicles until they're dangerously close. It's a setup for catastrophic accidents. By Wednesday morning, New Year's Eve, the strongest winds migrate farther north into southeastern Canada. Hudson Bay vicinity and northern Ontario residents should brace for gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour throughout the day. That's life-threatening cold amplified by dangerous wind. Wind chill values in those regions drop to levels that cause frostbite within minutes. Visibility becomes the immediate personal danger. When meteorologists map visibility forecasts, darker colors represent poorer visibility. Monday evening shows much of Michigan experiencing drastically limited sight distances. The Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, northeastern Indiana, and northern Ohio all face reduced visibility. By Tuesday morning, all Great Lakes zones experience the same conditions. Traverse City, Marquette, Cleveland, Grand Rapids, Erie, Buffalo, Watertown see visibility crash below half a mile. Some locations drop below a quarter mile, approaching total whiteout. What does that mean practically? It means safe driving becomes impossible. Full stop. If you look outside and can't clearly identify landmarks a quarter mile distant, you have no business on the road. I don't care about your driving skills or your vehicle's capabilities. In whiteout conditions, you're risking your life and everyone else's. Wednesday delivers another reinforcing surge of lake-effect snow. Throughout New Year's Eve, those bands stay active. The pattern offers no relief. It just keeps manufacturing snow across the lakes. Now let's address the cold itself. Yesterday, Sunday, December 28th, an Arctic front sliced across the nation, creating extraordinary temperature contrasts. Louis basked in the mid-70s while simultaneously Kansas City shivered in the low 20s. Within one state, we had temperature spreads exceeding 50 degrees. That illustrates how sharp and powerful this Arctic boundary was. That front has cleared the East Coast now. Arctic air carries a characteristic dryness. Tuesday brings that dry cold to eastern states. Meanwhile, milder Pacific air infiltrates western regions. By New Year's Eve, examine the upper-level flow pattern. Cold air channels directly from Alaska through central and southern Canada straight into the eastern United States. Meteorologists call this cross-polar flow, essentially a pipeline for Arctic air delivery. Simultaneously, that milder Pacific air crashes into western states and the central to southern plains. This creates a sharp temperature boundary slicing through the country. The west stays relatively temperate. The east freezes. Wind chill numbers matter more than raw temperatures because wind chill reflects what it actually feels like on exposed skin when you factor in wind speed. Monday evening currently, portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa register wind chills below zero, some areas reaching 10 to 20 degrees below zero. Add those values, exposed skin risks frostbite in under 30 minutes. If you're venturing outside tonight, dress in multiple layers. Tuesday morning greets Wisconsin and northern Illinois with brutal readings. Wind chills ranging from 5 to 20 degrees below zero. By New Year's Eve afternoon, extending into New Year's Day morning, another blast of even colder air arrives. The upper Midwest and Great Lakes absorb the worst of it. Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern Illinois, Michigan all face dangerously low wind chill values. But the truly extreme conditions develop farther north. Across Canada over deep snowpack, wind chills plummet to 50 to 60 degrees below zero around the Northwestern Territories, northern Saskatchewan, and northern Manitoba. That's where genuine hardcore Arctic air resides. At those temperatures, exposed skin freezes within mere minutes. Frostbite onset is rapid. Hypothermia becomes a real threat even with brief exposure. Scripture addresses wisdom and preparation in Proverbs chapter 22 verse 3. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. This ancient wisdom speaks directly to our current weather situation. Recognizing warnings and responding appropriately isn't fear, it's prudence, it's wisdom. Preparing for severe weather demonstrates good stewardship of the lives and families entrusted to our care. That low-pressure system intensifies further, bottoming out between 950 and 960 millibars over Hudson Bay by midnight New Year's Day. That's exceptionally strong. It functions as a massive atmospheric pump, continuously driving cold air southward through the cross-polar flow mechanism. New Year's Day channels that cold air directly into southern Canada, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic regions. West of the Mississippi River, temperatures begin their moderation as Pacific air continues its eastward push. But the eastern two-thirds of the country remains locked in the cold pattern. This powerful low generates energy that circulates around it. In the northern hemisphere, air flows counterclockwise around low-pressure systems. Visualize wind spinning around that intense low position near Hudson Bay. That circulation pattern delivers wave after wave of snow showers across southern Canada and the northeastern United States, timed perfectly with the New Year's arrival. When the clock strikes midnight welcoming Thursday, January 1st, 2026, some areas experience active snow showers with moderate intensity pockets. The Erie, Pennsylvania region, Pittsburgh, areas extending through Parkersburg and Charleston, West Virginia along the Appalachian chain, potentially light snow showers and flurries across New York City. For those watching Times Square's ball drop, dress in serious layers. New York City wind chills will hover in the teens. Even though that's above zero, extended exposure still risks frostbite without proper protection. Layer your clothing strategically. Cover all exposed skin. Wear insulated gloves, a proper winter hat, and wrap a scarf around your face. The writer of 2 Timothy understood something about fear and preparation. Chapter 1, verse 7 reminds us, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. I present all this detailed information not to create fear, but to provide equipment for wise decision-making. Fear immobilizes. Wisdom activates preparation. Through proper preparation, you exercise power over your circumstances. The middle section of the country celebrating New Year's Eve can expect relatively quiet weather. Dry conditions prevail, though colder weather continues across the northern Midwest and northern plains. However, another weather system approaches California and the desert Southwest, bringing substantial rainfall back to Los Angeles. Southern California celebrants should keep umbrellas accessible and monitor flooding potential. Recent rainfall has saturated soils throughout these regions. That saturation combined with additional heavy rain creates mudslide risk, particularly in areas with steep terrain and recent fire scars. Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim, and San Bernardino could each receive 1 to 3 inches of rain. While rain is welcome in drought-prone regions, excessive amounts arriving too rapidly create hazardous conditions. Stay tuned to local emergency management communications. Let me provide detailed safety guidance. Because proper preparation separates inconvenience from disaster. Starting with winter driving, if you absolutely must travel during these conditions, reduce speed dramatically. Posted speed limits assume ideal road surfaces. Ice and snow eliminate ideal conditions entirely. Drop your speed at least 15 to 20 miles per hour below posted limits, more when visibility deteriorates. The physics are unforgiving. Your stopping distance on ice extends 3 to 9 times longer than on dry pavement. Driver skill doesn't override physics. Ice is ice, period. Extend your following distance substantially. The standard 3-second gap? Insufficient. On ice and snow, maintain minimum 6 to 8 seconds between your vehicle and the one ahead. This provides the reaction time and stopping distance you'll absolutely need if situations deteriorate suddenly. Avoid all sudden vehicle inputs. Accelerate gently and gradually. Apply brakes early and progressively. Turn the steering wheel with smooth, deliberate movements. Sudden actions break traction loose. And once you're sliding, you're simply along for the ride. If you begin to slide, maintain composure. Lift off the accelerator. Resist the urge to slam brakes. Steer toward where you want the vehicle's front to point. Rehearse this mentally before you ever need it in reality. Recognize when conditions demand you exit the road. If visibility falls below a quarter mile, if you repeatedly feel traction loss, if other vehicles are departing the roadway around you, locate a safe pull-off completely out of travel lanes and wait. Your life holds more value than your schedule. Maintain a legitimate emergency kit in your vehicle year-round. I'm talking about a comprehensive kit, not just a scraper and old blanket someone gave you. Include a fully charged mobile phone, a vehicle-compatible phone charger, warm blankets or sleeping bags rated for cold weather, extra winter clothing including gloves and hats, non-perishable food items, bottled water, a flashlight with fresh batteries, a complete first aid kit, kitty litter or sand for traction assistance, a small shovel, and road flares or reflective warning triangles. If you break down or leave the roadway in an isolated area during this cold outbreak, that kit could determine whether you survive. Home preparation deserves equal attention. Protect your plumbing. Allow faucets to drip slightly when temperatures drop below freezing. Open cabinet doors beneath sinks to promote warm air circulation around pipes. Know exactly where your main water shutoff valve is located in case a pipe ruptures. Establish backup heating plans. If power fails during extreme cold, you need alternative ways to maintain warmth. Fireplaces work if you've stockpiled seasoned firewood. Space heaters function if you can safely operate a generator. Never use gas ovens, gas ranges, or outdoor grills for indoor heating. Carbon monoxide poisoning kills silently and quickly. If you run a generator, operate it outside away from all windows and doors. Generator exhaust contains lethal carbon monoxide concentrations. Acquire supplies before the storm impacts your area. Stock non-perishable foods sufficient for at least 3 days. Plan 1 gallon of water per person per day. Ensure adequate supplies of necessary medications. If you have pets, stock their food too. Purchase batteries for flashlights and radios. Keep a battery-powered or hand-crank radio available to receive emergency information if electrical power fails. Charge every electronic device you own right now. Your phone, tablets, laptop computers, portable power banks. When power disappears, you lose charging capability. Do it while the opportunity exists. Check on your neighbors, particularly elderly residents or those managing health challenges. Winter storms create opportunities for communities to demonstrate care for one another. We check on each other's well-being. We assist with snow removal. We share resources when power infrastructure fails. Something meaningful emerges from that mutual support, something that reminds us humans aren't designed for isolated, independent existence. Perhaps it's clearing an elderly neighbor's driveway and walkways. Perhaps it's offering your warm home to someone whose heat has failed. Perhaps it's simply a phone call confirming they're safe and asking what they need. These kindness demonstrations carry weight. They reflect Christ-like character. They build communities capable of weathering any storm, both literal and metaphorical. Learn to recognize frostbite and hypothermia warning signs. Frostbite typically affects extremities first: fingers, toes, ears, nose. Initial symptoms include numbness, tingling sensations, or burning feelings. Skin color shifts to white or grayish yellow. Affected areas feel unusually firm or have a waxy texture. If you suspect frostbite, get indoors immediately. Don't rub the affected tissue. Warm it gradually using body heat or lukewarm water, never hot water. Hypothermia develops when core body temperature falls below normal levels. Early warning signs include shivering, exhaustion, confusion, clumsy hands, memory difficulties, and slurred speech. As hypothermia advances, shivering actually stops, pulse and respiration slow dramatically, and consciousness can be lost. Hypothermia constitutes a medical emergency. Call 911 immediately and begin gentle rewarming procedures. Looking toward early January, computer models show a substantial blocking high-pressure ridge near Greenland during week 1. Upper atmosphere maps display this using warm colors. Lower pressure appears in blue shades. This configuration locks colder air across the eastern United States and maintains cold in western Canada and Alaska, while allowing temperature moderation across central United States as a ridge extends southward from Canada. Week 2 of January, spanning the 8th through 15th, displays mid-latitude blocking with high pressure positioned over northern Canada. This setup promotes temperature moderation and unsettled weather across the nation's midsection. Week 3, the 15th through 22nd, brings colder colors returning to forecast maps. Cold air masses dump into central and eastern United States. A ridge amplifies into the North Pacific and western Canada, extending toward Alaska, and that configuration funnels additional cold air southward into the lower 48 states. Week 4, the 23rd through 31st, maintains cold air presence. That Pacific ridge weakens somewhat with potential storm systems in northern Alaska, but the overall pattern sustains cooler than normal temperatures across much of the country. January overall appears cold for eastern United States regions. Central and western areas show more temperature variability due to that mid-month ridge influence. Week 1 concentrates the coldest air across the northeast and southeastern Canada, similar to our current pattern. Genuine Arctic air remains anchored over Alaska. Central United States sees moderating temperature trends. Week 2 introduces that mid-latitude blocking pattern. Much of Canada experiences warming. United States regions likewise trend milder. This moderating period could reduce snowpack depth across Canada and United States areas, particularly through the country's center. Week 3 looks like significant cold air intrusion. The pattern signature suggests a major winter storm developing sometime around mid-January somewhere across the nation's heartland. Storm track projections run from Colorado or Texas northeastward toward the Great Lakes region. Cold air rushes in behind the system, reminiscent of yesterday's Arctic front passage. Week 4 positions the coldest air over regions carrying deep snowpack from whatever winter storm materializes. The Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Northeast face sustained cold conditions. Some cold air pushes southward, though without snow cover present, Gulf Coast areas won't experience comparable cold. January snowfall forecasts show Week 1 activity concentrated across southeastern Canada and the Northeast. Clipper systems tracking from southern Canada toward the Great Lakes could regenerate lake-effect snowband activity. Mountain regions out west receive snow as well. Week 2, spanning the 8th through 15th, shows increasing major winter storm potential by late Week 2 transitioning into early Week 3. Storm tracks could originate from Colorado or Texas and track through Indiana and Michigan. Cold Arctic air flooding in behind the system encounters Gulf moisture, the classic recipe for major snowstorms across Midwest or Ohio Valley regions. Week 3, the 15th through 23rd, continues active snow track patterns from Central Plains through Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. The Northeast corridor could experience a heavier snow event during Week 3. Late January, the final week, shows cold air rushing in and suppressing storm tracks farther south. This timing could deliver southern snow to areas like Dixie Alley, Tennessee, the Smoky Mountains, the Carolinas, Appalachian regions, and the Mid-Atlantic Interstate 95 corridor. Late January might bring significant snow to areas unaccustomed to substantial winter weather. Collectively, these patterns suggest January will be active and snowy, especially through mid-month and into the second half. The opening couple weeks might trend milder, keeping some storm systems as rain events across many locations. Then the snowline shifts southward, bringing winter weather to regions farther south than typical patterns deliver. Psalm 46 verse 1 offers perspective. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Winter storms humble us with reminders that ultimate control lies beyond human reach. Weather forces us to slow down, to prepare thoughtfully, to depend on community bonds, and to place trust in something greater than ourselves. We prepare with practical wisdom and act with prudence, while simultaneously resting in faith that divine care watches over us. Let me consolidate the critical information one final time. Currently, Monday evening, December 29th, a major winter storm generates blizzard conditions across Great Lakes regions and heavy snow across southeastern Canada. Through Tuesday and Wednesday, lake-effect snow production continues. Ice threatens northern Maine with accumulations reaching 1/10 of an inch. Wind gusts exceed 60 miles per hour across Great Lakes areas and reach 70 to 80 miles per hour across higher Appalachian elevations. By New Year's Day, Thursday, January 1st, some locations accumulate 2 feet of additional snow. Erie and Buffalo face the highest totals. Wind chill values drop to dangerous levels, 10 to 20 below zero across upper Midwest regions, 50 to 60 below across northern Canada. Travel remains dangerous throughout the holiday period. Snow showers continue into New Year's Day across the Northeast. Looking forward, January appears cold and active for eastern United States. Mid-month brings elevated potential for a major winter storm. Late month could deliver southern snow to areas not typically experiencing significant winter weather. Your priorities are clear. Avoid travel when possible during this event. If travel is unavoidable, prepare your vehicle properly and operate it with extreme caution at reduced speeds. Protect your home infrastructure, especially vulnerable pipes. Acquire emergency supplies now. Check on neighbors regularly. Layer clothing appropriately before going outside. Recognize frostbite and hypothermia symptoms. Monitor local weather updates continuously. This represents serious winter weather, but you possess the information and resources necessary to remain safe. Apply wisdom, execute precautions. Care for one another. Trust that facing these challenges together reveals strength found not only in preparation but equally in faith and community bonds. May God bless you and preserve your safety through this winter storm and throughout the coming new year. Stay warm, remain safe, and care for each other.